This case takes place in the United States of America on the 13th of October 2016. Patricia Dresser was a 52-year-old mother of two. She lived alone in Greenfield, Indiana, as her eldest had moved out, her youngest had joined the military, and she had divorced some years prior. Patricia was described as a people person and had many close friends. She was also described as a generous woman and would help those in need if she was able to do so. One of the people she showed kindness to was a young man named Spencer Spielman. Spencer was 20 years of age and was friends with her youngest son, Nick. Spencer was practically homeless. He would do the odd jobs for people to earn some money to get by. Since Spencer was a friend of her son, Patricia would also find the odd job for him to do. She would pay him $100 a month to clean her house, and even give him the money in advance. However, he would never complete the work. She also gave him money when he was in need, helped him look for jobs and research college, and allowed him to stay when he had nowhere else to go. But Spencer betrayed her trust. On the 12th of October 2016, Patricia finished a day's work and made her way home. Upon arriving at her house, she realized that someone had broken inside. She inspected the house and noticed that some alcohol was missing. Patricia had an idea who could be responsible for breaking into her home. She picked up her phone and began messaging some of her friends. She explained to her friends that she believed Spencer had tried to steal a luxury watch that belonged to her son, as the watch box was left open on the floor. However, she had taken the watch out of the box and hidden it somewhere else, just in case this very thing happened. The watch had gone missing previously, and Spencer had mysteriously found it under a bed in the house whilst he was cleaning. Patricia began taking images on her iPad to document the crime, although she didn't want to get the police involved. She realized that Spencer knew the code to her garage, so she just changed the passcode. At around 9 PM that night, Patricia tried to call Spencer, and a little later on, she sent him a number of messages. These messages read, "Don't test me. I know you're at my house today. Don't ever break into my house again. I will have you thrown in jail. Take this as a courtesy." Patricia then messaged later on, "I have you on video. Do not try that again." At around midnight that night, Patricia began messaging some of her friends, telling them that she was struggling to sleep due to the break-in. She said, "Okay, kinda scared. Can't sleep. Worried what crazed, addicted, strung-out kids might do. I'm all locked down, but apparently still worried. I just want a peaceful, easy feeling, which I'm not getting." On the 13th of October, Patricia didn't turn up to work. Her colleagues did find this odd, but they didn't follow anything up. However, that very same night, Patricia had made plans to visit a friend's house for dinner. She never arrived. Her friends became worried and tried to contact her a number of times, but she never answered her calls or replied to any of her messages. Friends of Patricia began messaging each other, asking if anyone had heard or seen of her recently, but nobody had. These friends then decided to go over to her house to see if she was okay. Upon entering at 10 PM, they found Patricia's lifeless body laid out on the sofa. The police were called immediately and told the operator that they believed foul play was involved. Investigators soon arrived on the scene to determine what had happened. Patricia was laying on her back on the living room sofa wearing a red robe. The sash to this robe was found on the floor next to her hand, which was dangling off the sofa. One slipper was found near the sofa and the other one was found in the kitchen. It appeared to investigators that a struggle had taken place. Strangely enough, there was no sign of forced entry, like Patricia knew the killer and she had let them in, or they knew how to access the house. Her television, iPad, Wi-Fi hotspot, phone, wallet and car were all taken from the home. A number of Patricia's friends and one of her sons told the police about the issues she was having with Spencer Spielman. As a result, Spencer was listed as a suspect and the police were now on the hunt. An autopsy was conducted on Patricia's body to determine the cause of her death. Her death was put down to asphyxiation due to smothering and strangulation. Marks were found on her neck that matched the width of the robe sash that was found next to her hand. She also had injuries to her lip and bruising under her armpit. The police were on the lookout for Patricia's stolen car, a blue Ford Taurus. The car was also part-owned by her ex-boyfriend. The two got along after separating and shared the car. The following day, on the 14th of October, Patricia's ex-boyfriend, Dwayne Davis, was driving when he saw the car. Dwayne began to follow the vehicle and quickly pulled out his phone to call the police. He told them that he had found the car and told the police to quickly come. At 9 PM on the 14th of October, the car was pulled over by the police. Inside the vehicle was two people, Spencer Spielman and Brandon Humphreys. Brandon was a friend of Spencer's, and the two were taken into custody and questioned. Since Spencer was already a suspect at this point, the police decided to speak to Brandon first. They asked about his whereabouts and other general questions. Brandon told them that Spencer had picked him up at 3 AM on the 13th of October, and that the two had been driving around trying to sell various items. Police then told him the reason for pulling over the car.
Well, I'm going to get straight to the point. The stolen vehicle you're in is attached to a homicide.
Homicide? Mm-hmm. Like someone died in it?
It's attached to a homicide where somebody was killed. Okay.
Brandon seemed to be genuinely horrified upon learning this news. He panicked and began telling the police everything he knew. He said that Spencer had told him that he had a stolen iPad, TV, wallet, phone and Wi-Fi router, all of the things missing from Patricia's house. Brandon told officers that Spencer had told him these items belonged to his mother. He never mentioned that he had killed Patricia and stolen items from her home. Whilst the two had been driving around in Patricia's car, Brandon told investigators that he had seen Spencer using Patricia's gas card to buy fuel. He also told them that the two had sold a TV and told them the store where they had sold it. With this information, the police could piece together a better picture. Officers went to the store and recovered some of the CCTV. In this footage, they could be seen selling Patricia's TV. Now was time to interview Spencer and get him to explain his story. At first, he said he had been in Patricia's home during the early evening hours of the 12th of October. He claimed he was cleaning her home and that at some point, Patricia had let him borrow the car. He said she was intoxicated and was arguing with a man named John who was also present at the house. He said this man was driving a white car. Spencer claimed he left while the two argued at around 8:30 PM. But investigators had security footage from a house across the road, which showed that no such white car was ever there. What investigators found suspicious was that upon being told that Patricia was dead, Spencer didn't seem to care at all. This was a woman who, out of the goodness of her heart, had taken Spencer in, given him money, given him jobs, and helped him in any way she could. Any normal person would be devastated upon hearing that she had been murdered, but Spencer wasn't. Investigators then told Spencer that they had CCTV footage of him with Patricia's TV trying to sell it at a store, and that they knew he had used a gas card to purchase fuel. Spencer then admitted that he had used Patricia's garage code to come into her home in the middle of the night.
Did you feel like she owed you that, and you weren't getting paid? Did she make an agreement with you? Spencer, you can have this TV. Was there an agreement between you and Patty?
No.
For you to take that TV?
No.
Then why did you take it?
Because I needed money. That's the only thing I took from the house.
Okay, when did you take it?
I didn't kill anybody.
When did you take the TV?
I don't even remember.
Spencer then admitted that he made the whole John story up. However, he continued to deny that he killed Patricia. He claimed that on that night, Patricia was drunk and, quote, freaked out on him and hit him in the back of the head as he walked out of the garage. She then fell in the kitchen, injuring her lip. After she fell, he helped her up by the arm and walked her over to the couch, picked up the sash to her robe, put it on the floor next to her couch before he left in her car. But the police then told Spencer that they knew exactly how Patricia was killed. They presented him with evidence that the sash Spencer had claimed to place by her sofa had actually been wrapped around her neck twice and pulled. Spencer denied choking her and claimed he had just moved the sash and placed it on the floor. Investigators then offered Spencer a cigarette break. Whilst outside, Spencer asked an officer when he would be able to get into Patricia's car and grab his things. They told Spencer that the car was soon to be searched, and him having access to the car wouldn't happen anytime soon. Inside Patricia's car was the Wi-Fi router, her iPad, and her mobile phone. After the smoke break, Spencer decided to confess. For 15 minutes, Spencer admitted to killing Patricia. He said she fell in the kitchen, freaked out, and threw a black dress at him. Spencer said he took this dress, put it over her head, and wrapped the sash around her neck twice and tightened it. He said he then returned later to remove the dress and sash, but when he did, Patricia was already dead and was grey in colour. Spencer also said that he would have confessed earlier, but he thought Patricia's family were on the other side of the two-way mirror during the interrogation. With this confession, Spencer was charged with murder. However, he would change his story again. Shortly after admitting to the crime, he claimed the confession was obtained through coercion and false promises of a lesser sentence, and pushed for the confession to be suppressed at the trial. A hearing was held on the 23rd of May 2017. The court denied for the confession to be suppressed, and the trial would begin on the 17th of July 2017. The confession was played to the jury along with these false stories he had told. They also highlighted how after strangling Patricia, Spencer made no effort to seek medical assistance for her. Instead, he sold her TV, used Patricia's gas card, attempted to unlock her iPad, and went on joyrides with his friends in her car, taking photographs of the speedometer and sending them to his friends, bragging about how fast the car would go. Other pieces of evidence were also presented before Spencer gave another story. He claimed Patricia had given him her television, let him borrow her car, and that he left that night. He said he returned the following morning at 7:30 AM and found Patricia dead. Spencer claimed he panicked and left, taking with him her car and possessions. When addressing the court, Spencer said, "Why would I bite the hand that fed me? I know you want justice for what happened, but I'm not Patricia's murderer." The jury didn't believe a word. During the trial, Patricia's brother addressed Spencer and said, "You took her life for a car and a TV. You are a self-centered individual who only cares about what benefits you at the time." And the prosecution highlighted how disturbing it was that he killed Patricia despite all of the help she offered him. Spencer was found guilty. The investigators don't believe that a full confession was ever extracted from Spencer, and what happened exactly only Spencer knows, and it seems he may be too selfish to ever admit what actually occurred. What the police believe actually happened is that during the early hours of the morning on the 13th of October, Spencer had stolen her car to drive around in. It's believed he returned it a few hours later, but Patricia heard him and confronted him. A struggle broke out, and Spencer strangled Patricia to death and stole more of her belongings for money. Spencer was sentenced to 55 years in prison. His approximate release date is 2054.